Welcome in, everybody, to my favorite segment every single week. It is our Ravens Mailbag. Live on Tuesday, your questions, my answers. And if you guys want to be a part of it, make sure to subscribe and join us this upcoming Tuesday. Before that, though, you love the show. You love what we're doing here right at the Ravens Rundown. If that's true, and if you love the Baltimore Ravens, then share this video, share the channel with a friend, and tell them to subscribe and join us right here. We're growing like crazy. We've added, I think, 14,000 subscribers since I took over last August, and we're not going to stop anytime soon. So share it with a friend. Make sure they join us as well. The first question today is coming from Ravens Glazer. We win in the Super Bowl. Great name, Ravens Glazer. Do you think the Ravens will be able to maintain their awesome offense in 2025? Yeah, I do. Maybe not as great as it was last year because that was a historic year for their offense. It was one of the best offenses in NFL history, but they still have Lamar Jackson. They still have Todd Monken. They still have Derrick Henry. They still have Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman. They added DeAndre Hopkins. This offense is still going to be elite, okay? I can promise you that. Next one coming up from Michael Stab. Hashtag Ravens, try to predict the Ravens record and also give us 3 players on the Ravens that you think we're going to break out next year and after the draft. I love EDC so much. The schedule as of right now has not officially come out as of the recording. When you're watching this, the schedule's out. So without me seeing the list of the games and the order of the games, I'm going to say 12-5 is my prediction, but I'll have my full prediction out a couple days ago at the time you're watching this. 3 players that I think are going to break out. It's a great question. I think Rashad Bateman's going to get over 1,000 yards. I think that Isaiah Likely is going to have a phenomenal season. I think Malachi Starks is going to absolutely just blow people away this next year. Next up from Jameer Castro, hashtag Ravens, who do you want to see get an extension the most? The most, Lamar. I'd love to see Lamar get extended. I actually talked to you on Monday about how an extension apparently is coming very soon, which I think is really great news. So Lamar is the answer to that question. I also really want to see an extension from Kyle Hamilton. I want to see an extension for Tyler Linderbaum and Derrick Henry as well. Next up, Kyler Richards. Hashtag Ravens, do you think Likely will have more yards than Andrews? It's hard to say, Kyler. I think so, but I think it's going to be close. It's not going to be this insane amount. The thing about Likely that was so interesting with last year was he absolutely flashed onto the scene, 111 yards in the first game against the Chiefs. But then it took him until week 11 to get another game over 50 yards. The entirety of the season after week 1, he only had 3 games over 50 yards receiving. Now, the good news is 2 of those came in the playoffs against the Bills and against the Steelers, which is phenomenal. He's trending in the right direction. He's playing his best when we need him to play his best. But still, I would love to see a little bit more consistency after how awesome that first game was against Kansas City. I think he'll have more, but I think it'll be close. I would not be surprised if Andrews had more touchdowns, though, and just was a really good red zone threat. Up next is Mikko Rantanen. What's up, Mikko? Keep balling with the Stars. Are the hashtag Ravens reuniting with Hollywood Brown? Mikko Rantanen just asked me a question. Are the Ravens reuniting with Hollywood Brown? No. I don't think so. A recent report came out. The reason this question's probably being asked, a recent report came out that the Chiefs are looking open to trading Hollywood Brown. I don't think that Baltimore's interested in any kind of reunion. I think since they made that trade, it's been a really good thing for Baltimore. And Hollywood hasn't had the best career now. He's dealt with some injuries last year in Kansas City. But even if the Chiefs do make him available for trade, I don't see Baltimore being incredibly interested. I need you guys to make the call for me. Should the Ravens trade for Hollywood? Is he back in the Charm City, or do you want him back? Let me know by answering yes or no in the comment section down below. Think about the reunion and let me know what you think. Next up from Joe, hashtag Ravens. Who do you think is the most underrated player on the Ravens? Ooh, last year, I think it was Roger Rosengarten. I think Roger Rosengarten had a phenomenal year. When you look at his stats against TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, like he held those guys to nothing. Zilch as a rookie. I think he had a phenomenal season. I think that of all the Ravens players, I think he was most underrated by Ravens fans. But if I had to say in the entire National Football League who's the most underrated Raven, I would say Kyle Hamilton. I think he's the best safety in the league, and I don't think he gets near enough love and credit for it as I kick over a fan. Up next, Mike Nintendo Master. What's the worst position room for the Ravens? Interior defensive line, no question about it. Michael Pierce retirement hurt you a ton. I think that you need to add somebody there. You added Anais Peebles, but I need some more on the interior. Other than that, linebacker probably, just because it's going to be an interesting competition to see who starts. It's going to be one massive competition. Trenton Simpson, maybe, but you only played him 4 snaps, the last 15 snaps, the last 4 weeks of the season. And so I'd say linebacker and interior defensive line. Salty Dad 259, do you think there's a chance that the Ravens bring in Isaiah Bond to the practice squad? No, I don't think so. I think they're already good with the wide receivers they have. And I also think that, he's in the middle of facing a court case right now. I don't know how interested that Baltimore would be in bringing him in. Now, I know they do have their own problems or had their own problems. Justin Tucker had their own problems with Mike Green, but I just don't think it'd be worth bringing in a player that would bring those type of issues for a guy you're just signed to the practice squad. I also don't think Isaiah Bond is that great. I'm not a huge Isaiah Bond guy. Mr. Cheesesteak. Hashtag Ravens. How will the Ravens DB this season? I think it's going to be really, really good. I think that the addition of Malachi Starks is going to allow Kyle Hamilton to flood back down and be a little bit more of a hybrid jack-of-all-trades Swiss Army knife role. I think you're going to see him play in the slot a lot more, which is going to put Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey to the outside. So that way the 5 defensive backs you could have on the field are Darius Washington, Kyle Hamilton, Nate Wiggins, Marlon Humphrey, and Malachi Starks. That's a really good defensive back room. And you still got really good edge rushers as well, and you added the second best edge in the class, in my opinion, in Mike Green. And so I think it's going to be really, really good. Linebacker and interior defensive line, though, has to get figured out. You need a little bit more depth there, in my opinion. Speaking of Malachi Starks, make sure you guys go get his jersey. Support him, support us, support the Baltimore Ravens by going to chatsports.com/Starks. You can find this jersey in the purple, in the white, in the black, anywhere you want it. You got it, okay? Malachi Starks, I think, is going to be a star for Baltimore. And if you go to chatsports.com/Starks, you can get his jersey right now. Thank you to our friends over at Fanatics for sponsoring today's show, helping us out. And if you get one of those jerseys, it helps out the show as well. Chatsports.com/Starks. That link is in the comments and description of today's video. Up next, we got Daryus Williams. Hashtag Ravens. Do you think we go undefeated in divisional games? I don't think so, just because it's the AFC North. I think we're going to win the division. That helps. But I think we'll beat the Browns twice. I think we'll beat the Bengals and Steelers once each. Those Bengals games last year were unbelievable. Were my favorite games of the season. And I think the Steelers are not going to be very good, but also it's the Steelers, and so I feel like you got to pencil in at least a split there. I wouldn't be 100% shocked if they won all the divisional games. I wouldn't be flabbergasted, but I wouldn't expect it either. Ravens King. Hashtag Ravens, over or under 15 touchdowns for Derrick Henry this season. I'm going to go with the over because, I'm going to go over. If you're counting touchdowns. Now, if that's rushing touchdowns, I'd say under, but I think he's going to be good for 3 receiving touchdowns, and I think you can probably pencil in 12 rushing touchdowns for him. Give me the over. Hashtag Ravens, you see a scenario where we trade for Olave. I talked about this earlier this week. Last Word on Sports listed the Baltimore Ravens as a trade candidate for Chris Olave, and I don't see that happening. That doesn't make a ton of sense for me, and so I don't see a scenario where that happens. I think Olave is a great talent. I wouldn't be upset if they acquired him, depending on what you gave up, but he's dealt with injuries. He's dealt with concussions. And Baltimore kind of made it shown last week that, hey, we're happy with the receivers. They didn't trade Bateman to Dallas. Those were in trade discussions, and so I don't see that happening. Darius Williams again saying, do you think that we get a first-round bye? It's hard because the AFC is so loaded. You got to have a better record than the Bills. You got to have a better record than the Chiefs. I probably wouldn't bet on it, But crazier things have happened. It just sucks. The Bills play in such an easy division. They get to play the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Patriots. So that's like 5-1 for them, which is kind of frustrating. Up next, Kimberly Harmon. Think Lamar Jackson gets a big contract? I hope so. At the time of this recording, he has not been extended yet. I talked about it on Monday that a report came out that they are looking to extend him. And so I really hope that comes to fruition. I hope he gets his bag because plain and simple, he deserves it. I would love for him to get a big contract, Kimberly. Hashtag Ravens, what do you think the Ravens will end up ranked on defense at the end of the season? Good question. I think they're going to have a top 5 defense. I do. I think they're going to take a massive step up from where they were last season to this one. And so, I think top 5 defense, and I think Malachi Starks, Mike Green, they're going to help a ton. I think that's just going to be absolutely massive for Zach Orr, and he's going to be in year 2. Year 2, a defensive coordinator is going to be a lot better. Hashtag Ravens, how many UDFAs make the roster? One. I was going to say 1 or 2. It's not going to be 2. With 11 draft picks, you're not going to have 2 UDFAs make the roster as well. I think it's going to be 1, and I think it's going to be one of the linebackers, either Chandler Martin or Jay Higgins. Moggs saying, hashtag Ravens, what are the chances Clowney returns to Baltimore? Let's go, Bird Gang. I think they're fine. I talked about this on Monday, but they're going to have to weigh the options of what's more important, the development of our young edge rushers or getting in an edge rusher we believe that we can win a Super Bowl with this year, which could be Jadeveon Clowney. I would put the chances at like 35%, 33%, let's just say a third. I think he would love to be back. I think Baltimore would love him, but that's a really crowded room as of right now. And so adding in Jadeveon Clowney just makes it all more crowded. But also, if you believe you can get what you got out of him in 2023, then by all means, go do it. Speak up for me. What would you want to do with Clowney? What would you do? Okay, let me know if you would sign him or if you go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to pass. Let me know in the comment section down below right now. And as always, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Again, we go live every single Tuesday. I answer your questions right here on the channel. So to be a part of it, make sure you guys subscribe and join us next time.